So your players walked into the forest and met a giggling pixie who led them to a tea party? I mean, that's cute. Until she feeds them time-altering honey and one of them wakes up 40 years in the future. Fae aren't Disney's sidekicks. They're magical predators with rules that we just don't understand. Let's take a look at how you run them. So look, I get it. Fae creatures in Pathfinder or any tabletop role-playing game, really, they can be super fun. Prankster pixies, forest guardians, dancing dryads, or whimsical fairy dragons. It's all very fairy tale. And that's what a lot of us have just sort of gotten used to, is mischievous little pranksters, right? Things that are there for a laugh or a quick bit, or they might require you to guess their name as they spin you gold. Well, that one's kind of touching more into the root of Fey spirit. But that's a trap, since Fae look whimsical, but canonically they play by their own set of rules. And those rules don't really care if your party gets injured or even dies. They're alien, they're ancient, and often amoral. Living a life forever in the Fey wild, in the first world, or whatever your cosmic ideology says that they live in, breeds a lot of narcissistic little buggers that do anything for a laugh. And if it involves losing your name for a century or losing the ability to use 3 of your fingers on each hand, it's not that much different to a Fae than if you die. But Fae aren't evil, per se. They're just totally removed from mortal logic, where death isn't a concept. So let's look at what makes Fae scary. I mean, they're not here to outright kill your players. They're here to transform them, trick them, trap them in bargains, confuse time and memory. And that's terrifying compared to a straight-up fight against an ogre or an orc. When a Fae makes a party the offer of a magical boon, they're not being nice. They're playing a game, and one that your players don't know the rules to. The Fey noble doesn't really care that you're out on a quest to save the world. You traipsed into his forest the night before the hunt, and you disturbed the game he was planning on hunting. No, he doesn't really care about your quest, but he'll say he does, just to potentially have new game the next night. So here's how we can reframe Fey encounters with just a couple tweaks to make them a bit more alien. You can change their language if you know a second language, or you can memorize a couple of verses in another language. You can have them talk in riddles if you prepared ahead of time, or speak about time in reverse. You will have been delightful to meet. But that takes a lot of brain power, especially on the fly. So it really helps to think about it ahead of time. And make the deals weird. Never let a Fey offer be simple. It's never a favor for a favor. It's a song sung backwards under a red moon in return for your third sorrow. Make the players say, wait, what? What's this little fellow asking for? And then drop subtle consequences. A player accepts a gift and suddenly they can't lie anymore. Or they might start yelling, which is perceived by everyone else, but not by them. I mean, they could even lose all concept of time, or everyone else forgets their name except for the Fae, and that's the classic, "May I have your name?" People will surprisingly fall for it, especially if the Fae doesn't look like a Fae until they've given their name. Anything that changes the status quo about the social encounter or about a combat encounter. I mean, one of my favorite Fae is the Babanshi, which is a vampiric Fey creature that comes from Scottish mythology. It looks like a beautiful young woman that can captivate you with her dance. But the thing that tricks people up a lot is the Babanshi. Almost all signs point to vampires. They are vampiric in nature, but they're not undead, they're Fey. So this creature with long teeth and the desire to drink your blood. If a party pulls out holy water and religious implements, the Fae doesn't really care, unless they happen to be made out of iron. But they're just there to dance and live their gothic life. Of course, their gothic life involves you dying, but that's a small price to pay for their fun. But let's... I know I do vampires and things a lot, so let's take a quick look at a different kind of Fae encounter. Feel free to steal it if you want to, but I'm sure you can think of something on your own as well. You could have the party enter a harrowed grove. Everything is perfectly still, and the scent of fresh-cut grass and lilacs fills your nose. A beautiful dryad greets you and offers fruit from a crystal bowl. The fruit glistens with morning dew, and it's cool to the touch. If they choose to eat it, a small bite leaves them feeling refreshed. A full fruit, and they feel amazing. A full night's rest in a 4-star inn, amazing. But they also forget the reason they came here. Their quest goal is erased from their memory. Now the players have to retrace their steps and figure out what they lost, all while the Fae smile politely and pretend nothing happened. And with a little bit of foreplanning, you can use this to set up the next hook of your campaign. As the party leaves the grove, the next night you camp, you find a book within your belongings. You don't remember it, but it seems to have notes and missives regarding something about the nearby city of Elwind. Judging from the scrawled notes on the page, it seems imperative that you travel there at once, before the second night of the third moon. Just some ideas. It lets you sprinkle in new plot hooks, and if your players are open to a bit more of the fanciful storytelling and just how things kind of fly with improv, I find it can be a lot of fun to do a little bit of memory shenanigans. So this really requires on people buying into the story, right? If people are just there to roll dice and smack the monster of the week, I'm sorry, Fae are probably going to fall flat on their face. I know talk good. But being a straight-up brawl is not where Fae excel. Fae aren't just forced decor or random encounter tables. They're the perfect way to bring mystery, danger, and strange beauty into your game. The ethereal hosts. Elves are wonderful, they bring wonder. Elves are beautiful, they beget beauty. And elves are terrific, they beget terror. I probably butchered that quote by Terry Pratchett, but it is something that I do think about when I'm running Fae. Fae are many things. Nice little tricksters, sometimes. Tricksters that want to see you suffer and delight, as they're all little horrible sadists, more often than not. So the next time you run into a giggling Fae creature offering tea, maybe ask what's in the cup before you drink it. Do you have a Fae encounter that went sideways? Tell me in the comments. I want the weirdest stories. And if you want more videos like this, like and subscribe, or the Queen of Air and Darkness might take it personally. Until next time, adventurers.